Hey everyone, welcome back to Substack Coach. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit more about growth. And what I want to talk about is the different ways that you can grow on Substack without having to use the notes feature. So a lot of people who join Substack think that growth only happens through notes. This is partly because so many of us who are on Substack use notes extensively and talk about it. And while notes can help, it's actually only one piece of the puzzle. Substack growth works differently than most social media platforms. It's much more relationship and network based. So today I want to walk you through the different ways that people actually grow on Substack, whether you're a writer, a creator, a coach, or a business. So first of all, it's important to remember and keep in mind that Substack is a collaborative platform. This is one of the biggest differences between Substack and traditional social media. On most platforms, growth is competition-based. You're trying to both stand out enough and also appeal to everyone so that you can go viral more than the next person. It can become very performative. But on Substack, growth is much more collaboration-based. The platform is designed to connect readers with writers they'll likely enjoy. This means relationships, recommendations, and participation matter a lot. So a quick review about notes, because this is one of the bigger ways to grow, and I know I've already covered this in some other videos this month. But notes are the discoverability side of Substack, the social media-like side. This is where people can find you outside of your subscriber list. But one important thing to understand, notes are not primarily about going viral. They're about becoming visible, helping the right readers discover your publication. A lot of people get discouraged because engagement numbers on notes often look small compared to platforms like Instagram or Facebook. But that doesn't mean it's not working. Often the real result is profile visits and subscriptions happening in the background. Next week, I'll be doing a video on how to interpret your stats on Substack so you can understand this a little bit deeper. So the algorithm on Substack is much more interest and topic based than follower count based. A few best practices for notes includes using clear topic-related language, participating consistently, commenting on other people's notes, restacking things that you think would be genuinely interesting to your audience, and think of notes as joining conversations, not just broadcasting content. So the next way that you can grow on Substack is what we call recommendations. So these are they are an underrated growth tool on Substack, and they can really help to boost numbers. When another publication recommends you, their subscribers can subscribe to you in one click while they're subscribing to the first publication. This creates network growth between related publications, and the best recommendations usually come from genuine relationship building and overlapping audiences. One thing I always like to mention though, recommendations can grow your numbers quickly, but they're not always engaged subscribers. So oftentimes, because Substack is still a new platform and a lot of people don't understand exactly how all the details work, they're accidentally signing up for a lot more publications than they intended to. And so they may not be engaged with your content because they didn't intend to sign up for your content. So recommendations can be helpful, especially when used intentionally and you're really careful about who you cross-recommend with. But your retention is definitely going to be more important and engagement more important on Substack. The next item is what we call mentions on Substack, which is a bit of kind of a form of networking. It's simply interacting with other writers on the Substack platform and mentioning them. So this can be mentioning them in posts. So you would type into your Substack post at so-and-so wrote a really great post on blah, 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 and continue talking about the topic. That at so-and-so will actually tag them, and it will do two things. It will give your readers a link to their profile, but it will also notify them that you have tagged them. This is not something you want to overuse. Some of the bigger publications on Substack, like the really big ones that don't care so much about growth because they just grow anyway because they're so big that everyone subscribes to them, They have shut off the ability for people to mention them because of this, because they get a notification every time someone does. But other people who say are in the thousands of subscribers instead of hundreds of thousands or millions, they're more likely to appreciate the fact that you've mentioned them. And sometimes they'll even restack your post as a way to express gratitude that you have mentioned them. And so they're kind of paying it back a little bit. So mentioning them in your posts, responding to their notes, quoting other writers is another really nice thing to do. Joining conversations in your niche, and this will help other creators discover your work more naturally and also perhaps share it with their audience. So one of the best things that you can do in this kind of networking kind of side of Substack is to become recognizable within your topic area. Another deeper way is of interconnecting with other writers is through guest posts and other collaborations. So Substack does have quite a few options built in for collaborations, and there's more in beta testing as well. But right now, collaborations can include things like guest posts, interviews, Substack live conversations. Some people have even set up shared Substacks for a project that they want to do together, something that they want to promote. And these kind of collaborations introduce your work to an already relevant audience. So guest posts would be the simplest way to start in this level of collaboration. Someone you've already subscribed to, you've connected with them, you've commented on their work, they've replied to your comments, maybe you've participated in their chat a little bit. Not everyone has a chat set up. And you've recommended them, they recommended you back. Maybe you would also say, hey, I'd love to do a guest post for you if that would work for you. If you think your audience would be interested in my topic XYZ, I would love to write on this for you. Here's some examples of my work, or some examples of my work that are related to this that I could do something similar for you if you think that would be a good fit. Many Substack writers are more than happy to have someone do a guest post for them. It helps to promote you, definitely, but it also helps them be seen as someone who creates information for their audience. It kind of grows their network a little bit. It also relieves the pressure of creating a post for that day. So there's lots of different ways that can work. Another way is, if you're comfortable with the camera, is a Substack Live, which is a really fun way to connect with other creators on Substack. Below in this YouTube channel, if you visit the homepage, you will see that I do several lives and interviews and things like that on a regular basis. And it's been a really fun way to connect with other Substack creators in my niche. So I connect with another coach quite often, and we have a monthly Q&A, ask us anything about Substack, and people come and join in and they'll type in the chat asking questions. It's actually really similar to a YouTube Live if you're more familiar with the YouTube platform. These collaborations, they're really great. I love doing lives. They're a lot of fun, but not everybody wants to do them because of they don't want to be on camera, in which case a guest post or something like recommendations might work better. And don't forget that off-platform growth still matters. So some people misunderstand and think that you have to work only on Substack, but you can totally connect your external accounts to your Substack in many different ways. And some of your best growth will come from YouTube or podcasts, social media if you already have an audience there, your website, search traffic, email forwarding, and of course, word of mouth. Substack works really well as a central publishing hub, and then from there, branching outward to other platforms. If you don't have a social media presence, you're not on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, and you're just starting from scratch on Substack, I highly recommend using Substack Notes as opposed to other social media platforms. You're going to get the best engagement and the best actual click through and subscribe, which is what you're aiming for, more so than likes and comments. So, and then also your Substack posts themselves, the long form content, will rank in search over time. And so don't neglect your SEO and having some evergreen content that will continually bring you traffic through search. So tutorials, helpful guides, explanations, resource posts, these can keep bringing in readers months or even years later through Google and even Substack search as well. Substack has a great keyword search that people can type in something that's related to your topic, and find you that way. Your publication name, your short description, the titles of your Substack, the keywords you use in your URL, these all help with discoverability on Substack and with Google search. So that is one reason why structure and clarity matter so much on Substack. And finally, I want to say one thing that people constantly neglect is retention. One of the biggest mistakes people make is focusing only on getting new subscribers, but growth is also retention. If you bleed subscribers as quickly as you gain them, you're not actually growing. If someone lands on your Substack, do they understand what they write about? Do they know who it's for? And do they know why they should subscribe? And once they have subscribed, do they know how to find what they signed up for, whether that's free or paid? This is where things like your about page, your welcome emails, your homepage structure, and your hero post become extremely important. And we'll be talking more about these in upcoming series that I'm going to do. So when people ask, how do you grow on Substack? The answer is really through visibility, relationships, consistency, and clarity, and helping the right readers find your publication. Notes is part of that, but it's not the whole picture. One of the reasons that Substack can feel confusing is because there are so many different ways growth can happen there, as I just covered. That's why I spend a lot of time helping people understand the platform itself instead of just giving random tactics or hacks. If you'd like more guidance like that, I share regular posts, workshops, and resources over on my Substack community, and you can find the link in the description. Thanks for joining me.